Muy buenas, gente hermosa, ¿cómo andan? Espero que todo muy bien. Muchísimas gracias otra vez y nuevamente por acompañarme. Lo prometido es deuda y esta vez estaremos con el gran Federico Ferrari de Italia, así que estaremos hablando de cómo improvisar las restauraciones indirectas, cómo las podemos mejorar, cómo podemos tener mejor performance en nuestra restaurativa, cómo podemos tener mejores posiciones de cementación, cómo podemos planificar nuestra geometría, qué haces Albertito querido de Saludos de Bolivia y cómo podemos mejorar toda esta performance en restauraciones indirectas con el gran Federico Ferrari, que ahí veo que me está enviando la solicitud, así que vamos a ir. Así que en breve estaremos con Federico acá, seguramente. Hi there, my
Hola,
friend.
ciao. How are you? Good to
Fine,
see
and
you.
you?
Very good. So we
Good
speak
to
in
see
English.
you. Good
How
to see you.
we are going to speak in English, ¿ok? Podemos
Yes, yes.
hacer la charla en español, pero es mejor que vaya a hablar en inglés.
Pero tu español está bien.
No entiendo un poquito, pero por hablar no es, es mejor que vaya a hablar en inglés.
Me gusta tu español, muy bien. You improve a lot your Spanish.
Yeah, I can understand. So if you maybe want to do some comments in Spanish or whatever, I think that I can understand quite well. But
Okay,
to have the
nice. It's
speech,
okay.
yeah,
You look great. Your hair,
yeah.
your
You see, the barber is now because now is evening, so Saturday night. I put the
yes,
shirt. I
yes,
watch.
I got it, I got it. We have a beautiful
No,
day
yeah,
outside
I
here.
see. But also here the weather is quite good and no pollution. Thanks to the lockdown, that we don't have pollution anymore. So yeah, yeah. But
And
anyway, hard moments for sure.
where are you now? In
I'm
Torino?
no, yeah. I'm in Alessandria. Alessandria is my hometown.
Oh,
Is in between Torino, Milano, in this area. Is under Torino as a region in Piemonte, but yeah, is 90 kilometers to Milan, to Genova, to Turin. So in the middle of this west, northwest
very in
area.
the north in the Italy. Is
Yeah,
right?
in the north. Yeah, North Italy. Yeah.
Okay.
And so
And
this is my hometown. I have the office here. My house is here. So I'm here. But
already your appointment, your office is open. Are you are come back to the
no,
work?
we are doing mainly we are doing just emergency for the beginning of March to now. Now we are starting to do something more, but not regular appointments. So is everything is now mainly for appointments that you cannot postpone. So is mainly not emergency, but yeah. But the problem that something that was not urgent 2 months ago now becomes that you have to have a look to understand what happened. But yeah, this week we work two afternoon for week. No, not more. So is a still heavy situation. I hope that numbers now are going better. How is in Argentina? Do you have
Oh,
high
it's going
numbers?
well. It's going well.
Are you
For
locked down?
tomorrow, almost all the country, not for us because we are in the capital here in Buenos Aires, but for almost all the country, we are going to back not to the complete normally, but in a flexibility ways, and we are trying to come back to normally, but in we can control because we see what is happening in Europe, in
Yeah,
Italy, in Spain. So that prevent to us to take some measures here. So that is like see the future.
yeah. Yeah, if you can prevent, it's much better. Yeah.
So let's talk about dentistry,
Okay.
the kindness what we love it, and I want to start to let me find this. Let me find this. Hold on, hold on. There you go.
Okay.
This is amazing paper and
Yes,
clinical
yes. This,
research.
yes, I'm not a writer. I wrote some articles, I think 10, 15 in the total. But
Mm-hmm.
this one is one of the most quoted ever on my articles. So it was, yeah, because it's more clinical oriented. It's trying to,
Mm-hmm.
also because you know what is the problem? Also in the type of design or preparation. Everyone are performing
Mm-hmm.
adhesive onlays, but it's not very clear what is the different design, when
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense to do one design instead of another one. So in this article, we try to figure out what are the indication for one design, two design, third design. So
Mm-hmm.
if you want, I can during the speech now I can summarize. I can give more contents about it. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. But before, tell me a little bit the history behind this paper. How
Yeah.
many time take to
Okay.
writing?
Anyway, I have to tell you, I'm not the fastest in the world to write articles because I'm a clinician. And then in this case, honestly, it was quite fast because
Mm-hmm.
the drawings are 3D drawings. So quite a
Mm-hmm.
long time to realize them is not by me, but by some guys
Mm-hmm.
that are doing anatomical 3D design. But these drawings were already prepared because this is a part of the drawing that we will put on my book.
But
So
they are beautiful,
yeah,
beautiful
yeah,
drawings.
they are very. Some one of my friends thought that it was
Very,
a rendering of a real tooth, not a
very
3D. Yeah,
artistic, friends.
yeah. And then, and anyway, tell you the truth, this was an article that I was preparing. Then this issue of this international journal was a special issue dedicated only as
Mm-hmm.
authors to the Italian Academy of Conservative and Restorative. It's a very prestigious
Oh.
academy that we have in Italy. It's an
Mm-hmm.
amazing group. I have the privilege to be the president-elect of this group. And
Mm-hmm.
then at that time, I had to propose one article. This one was already prepared for the submission, so I put in. I proposed for this number, and then
In
was
what year you released this paper?
yeah, 2016, I think. The majority of the text it
Oh,
was
nice.
2016 or 15. Yes, I don't remember now, but yeah, and then was published in 2017, if I guess. Yeah. And now I have a sequel of two articles with the in vitro study. If you want, I can show you something
Oh,
here in the
nice.
lecture. Yeah,
I wanna see
pre
that.
publication, and so, and then you tell me what you think about. Okay. So I'm going to start. If you want, I
Okay,
switch the camera. I show you some slides. I show you some
I'm
concepts.
so excited. Let's
You
go.
interrupt me whenever you want. Okay.
Okay, nice.
Okay. So guys,
It's gonna be fun.
yeah. Where is the? Okay. Okay, it's my pleasure to be with you. My real pleasure. So we chat many times, but I'd like to come in Argentina one day, maybe to see more from your work and to have more. Okay. So
I
guys, we are
almost
going.
see you in Italy. Do you remember that?
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, but we
We are
didn't meet
very
each
close
other.
to
Yeah,
to
yeah.
to, to
You
go
wrote me
to
about
your
your
place.
trip. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But at the end, we couldn't meet each other. So, guys, we are talking about posterior indirect adhesive restoration. This means also crown, adhesive crown, but mainly we talk about partial restoration. Okay, this is the article that you were quoting, Arya.
Yes.
That this is the article that was published in this issue, special issue on 2017. And then this is just a summarization of the article. And then as you can see, just a moment that I'm taking a pen just to highlight here. Okay, and
Mhm.
then in the article, we stay more on the design of preparation. Now we introduce something, but we talk about the protocol. Something that we are not going to talk tonight, but just I want to introduce is the preservation of the ridge. So as
Mhm.
I mentioned here, many times if you don't have a proximal area, considering that a proximal carious lesion in the proximal area, considering that the ridge is, yeah, this one, considering that the ridge is one of the most important structure in order to have a high strength of the tooth, we can preserve. Also, this is not, I don't know if it's a new concept, but I never saw this published before. But I think as a clinician that we have to consider. And the two variants are, like you are showing in the upper picture, this one, a sort of coverage of the ridge, but staying apart to the contact area. So you need that small amount that you can take impression and manage the cementation, or even more conservative if there are the condition. And then you preserve around 1 millimeter, 1.5 millimeters of the ridge. So you are going to end it up here in this area. This is something. Perfect. And then about the main preparation I will talk. So guys, today in my stories, I put the link, the direct swipe up. And anyway, in my website, federicoferraris.com, for the thanks to the kind permission of Quintessence Publishing House, you can go in the publishing area. You can download this article and other articles that I wrote also in the past. So just I want
all they can go to the Instagram and download this article.
Yeah, in my Instagram, in my story of today,
website.
Yeah, in my stories of today, you have the swipe up for this article. If you go on my website, you can go in publishing area, and then you can download all the articles that I wrote for publishing Quintessence Publishing House for free, because this is a kind permission that I asked to them, and then they allowed to me. Okay.
Oh, perfect. Thanks for sharing.
Okay, so guys, the idea, my group, my brand is called Aesthetics, so adhesion and aesthetics. The idea is we are very focused on protocols, not about tips and tricks, but to follow a workflow, to follow a protocol, and to obtain a predictable result. As I mentioned, we will have also all these protocols from direct to indirect bleaching, all the restorative procedure in this book that next year will be ready in English and probably in Spanish later. And then, okay, guys, I want to show you something about this case. This case has an infiltration micro leakage of this filling, but here we have secondary carious lesion, micro leakage, and then we have this missing cusp because we had a fracture. When I start with this, I immediately understand that probably this will be a direct restoration and probably this will be an indirect restoration. Then if you think that you can do a cuspal coverage, with a direct approach, you can do it. In my story of today, of Instagram story, you can see the live that I did with Riccardo Mannato today about the index technique. And this is a technique to do a direct coverage. But when the destruction of the tooth is very high, very big, probably the best way, the majority of the cases, is to do the indirect restoration. So starting to this, the real evaluation that we do of the cavity analysis that we do is after we remove all the the carious lesion, all the previous restoration. In this case, you see the extension of this, and you can see that this wall is quite thick, is quite thin. And then what are the structure that we have? Because at this point is the moment to do the cavity analysis, okay? This is the moment that we do this. So first of all, we have a fracture here of this cusp in the cervical area. So what I know from this point, as we will see in the indication, as you can see in the article, when I have something like this, when I do a build up to protect the dentin, automatically here, I will have a shoulder. So this is an indication to have a shoulder preparation. If I have to, in example, in this case, it's thick enough, but if these cusps are very thin, I have to cut them. And then in this case, I can choose from a butt joint or a bevel. We can talk later. Not a shoulder is not very indicated because you destroy more the tooth and you don't have benefit, okay? So ideally, this is the fact. Then if we go ahead, we have two areas. In this case, you can see that we have in the green color, we have an inlay cavity. For an inlay cavity, it doesn't make sense with no major undercuts, with very thick cuspal residual. Usually the protocol foreseen that you do something like inlay restoration. And the inlay restoration, it makes sense to be done with a direct approach. Then, in this case, we have a missing area, we have a missing ridge, we have a fracture. We have to measure at this point the thickness of this wall. In a vital tooth like this, if this thickness is more than 2 millimeters, okay?
Perfect.
If it's more than 2 millimeters, or enough, at least 2 millimeters, because we have the adjacent ridge missing, in this case, the idea is maintain it. If we have here or here less than 2 millimeters, in this case, we have the ridge, so the borderline is 1.5, but I don't want to complicate too much the discussion. Then it's better for the prognosis of the tooth to cut it and then to cover ridge, okay? So in this case, after our cavity analysis, that now we are talking about it, and so you say, oh, come on, a lot of reasoning. But once you understand what are the questions that you have to ask yourself, is 3 seconds. Once you have the cavity, you ask yourself the same sequence as I introduced also in the article, and then you decide what is maintainable, what has to be covered. Okay.
Okay.
So now in this case, we see the direct workflow, and the direct workflow, it means that we do the same addition on the 2 teeth, but one as a build-up that we can call direct restoration. So we finalize this, and in this case, in this one, we relocate the margin in some area, and then we are going to do the build-up. Then we take the impression, and we have this onlay. This onlay was made as a technician by my father, okay? And this is a composite onlay. And then we are going to cement it. Cementation is very important, guys. Here we are in a second lower molar. We are in a second lower molar. It means that to control the humidity is almost impossible without a rubber dam. And when I say rubber dam, it means proper position of rubber dam. You can use a slot technique, but maybe in a frontal area is different. But in this case, my suggestion, my strong suggestion is to put the rubber dam. So to put the rubber dam like in this way, okay? Clamp in the lower, in the posterior teeth if you have it, so you can leave this contact area free, and then you can adapt perfectly you can see here, you can adapt perfectly the restoration. Here, once you press, I use a light curable material. I put the floss, I remove the excess, I put it, okay, I push it, I do a sonic vibration to remove also, the excess, cure it, then rebonding, then if you want air block.
What kind of luting agent do you use in that case?
Okay, wait a second, that now is okay. The luting agent as a cement in this case, and in the majority of the case, maybe you can see more here, is a packable material. So it's the same composite that you use to do the filling. It's the same for the filling that I did in the neighbor tooth. Okay.
Is a preheated composite?
Yeah, perfect.
Oh,
it's
nice,
a packable preheated. So usually depends on the device that you use to do this. You have in between 55 Celsius degrees, in between 55, 75, 65, sorry,
65.
Celsius degrees.
Okay. Nice.
It depends on the oven that you are using. Okay. In this case, you have a very high filled material, very viscous. But what happened? You can press it during this temperature, and
I guess we are losing to our professor. Federico, are you there? Or maybe. Okay. We lose the professor. We are trying to come back to with the professor again. I try to see his request and then we can continue. It's very exciting what he talked about it. About preheat composite to lutein his overlay composite. Oh, problema de conexión. Sí, parece que sí. Parece que sí, parece que sí. A ver, vamos a seguir. No se vayan. Voy a tratar de aceptar la solicitud de Federico otra vez. ¿Te gusta Tincho, querido? Me alegro, hermanito. Un gran abrazo. Buenísimo. A ver. ¿Dónde está el profesor Federico? Genio, dice Adri Locher. Saludos. Voy a aprovechar a saludar ya que no está el profe. Acá está mi hermano. Ok, Delis, a ver, vamos a ver otra vez las requests for Go Live, pero Federico no aparece. Espectacular, dice Alberto Gianella. Fantástico, estimado Orien. Dice Miriam, Silvia. Gracias, Silvia. Es un montón que no te veo. Desde Perú, saludos. I'm here, ok. There you go.
Sorry, I received a phone call, but after that, I was not able to. No, but I didn't answer. But I was not able to join you guys. Really sorry about this.
No
now
problem.
I'm switched to the Wi-Fi.
Keep it with your eyes very open. So they are all here. So you can continue if you want.
Okay, I'm going. Sorry for the interruption, guys. Okay.
We lost when you are talking about the pre-here composite, when you are losing the resin.
We were here. We were talking about this. Okay. So guys, sorry for the interruption. The fact
before you start, do you have any preference in the preheat composite? Any brand? Any? I don't know.
Mainly I use some composite. Mycerium. I don't know how you pronounce it.
Yes, Mycerium.
Mycerium is the dentin or a specific enamel, very translucent, like OW. Okay.
OW.
That is
okay.
Yeah. That is a polished white. But for this kind,
for bio this, something. Bioenamel or
okay, biofunction, yeah.
Yeah.
Was I mentioning the biofunction as the dentin that is similar to the previous one, and in this case I'm using or A4 or A6 dentin. Another one that I love to do it is the 3M 3M dentinal body. So it's not very opaque, but has some chroma inside, and as a viscosity is fantastic also to preheat it. But you can use also other. I'm using also Ultradent. I'm using also Kulzer and others. Okay. I use a lot of the Inspiro from Didier Dici. For this purpose, maybe it's a little bit more viscous, and so maybe I don't. It's not my first choice to do the cementation, but you can use it also then because you can heat it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Can you see good? Because I moved to the Wi-Fi. Okay. Perfect.
Nice.
So, guys, what is important? What do we prefer to have if we stay in between 2 millimeters, not exceed the 3 millimeters thickness of the restoration? Need to use a light curable material, because thanks to have a light curable material, we can remove the excess. We have time to control all the margins, to control the cervical area, to control these areas. Then we remove the excess, and then little by little press it, because it's viscous, so it makes sense to keep it, press it, then you remove it, then you put light, and then you go.
That ultrasonic machine is the regular machine of ultrasonic?
Is yeah, is the ultrasonic is the yeah is a point, is a tip in the sonic. That one is a
Okay.
sonic tip, okay?
Okay.
And then you can use ultrasonic as well. So guys, once you do the build up, it's quite easy to do the preparation for a restoration like this, because you decide what you want to do. In this case, as I mentioned, we are just refining the the the, the shoulder, because we already had this fracture. So this is a microscope video, and in this case we see some details about the cementation. We start usually from the cementation to the enamel margins, but we don't care about denting, because usually we cover the denting with the build-up. Our
Oh, nice.
goal is to have two substrate. One is the enamel margins, the second is the build-up, okay? So, and you can see how is the viscosity of the material. It's quite easy to remove the excess. You can see here. And then you see when you press and you go with the sonic, you have some more excess. You remove it with a small instrument, and then you go, okay? So
Okay.
guys, we have here before and after. As you know what? I'm
What?
not the one that is doing indirect everywhere. There is a specific indication. In this tooth, there were no indication to do an indirect, because to do a build-up to close the undercuts is already the restoration, I mean. So if you don't want to do a build-up in a situation like this, you have to prepare too much, and you are not conservative. So in a situation like this, as you have seen the restoration, the cavity, it makes sense to do a direct layering. So this is a direct filling that I did. And in this case, here you have a big amount of missing tooth. You have this cusp fracture, you have the missing ridge. In this case, for this type of cavity, the first indication, the first choice, according to many authors, is to do an indirect restoration. Okay?
Okay. What amazing case, Professor.
No, but it's a case of some years ago. If you don't mind, we can talk about something about preparation if you want, and then I
Okay. Yes.
clarify the indication. I show you a little bit more the drawing. Have you seen? But guys, remember, I mentioned it in the article. I will explain even better in my book. When you remove
We are
the
waiting
cavity,
for that release.
yeah. And me too, because it's a very long book that it is a big project that took me a lot of energies, but I'm very happy that we are finalizing it. So, according to Fichera and other authors, you do a cavity configuration. So you do a cavity analysis. The main structure that you have to ask yourself if you have or not is the interaxial dentin. That is very important in order to keep high strength for the tooth. Then the ridge are missing, then the roof chamber, and the last one for the importance is the residual cusp. The residual cusp, if more you miss the previous structure, more the residual cusp should be thick, okay? So this makes sense. And then, guys, this is very important, because also in this case, why we want to have a protocol? We want to have a protocol in order to have a specific sequence of reasoning to start from the cavity and to decide if you have to maintain one cusp, if you to have maintain the other, if you have to cover another one, what type of design we need, okay? And so the main three shape, as according to also the article and the book, is shoulder, butt joint, and bevel.
Perfect.
We use this kit. This is a restorative kit from Comet. I have two kits, one for the direct, one for the indirect. And you know, if you go on my website, federicoferraris.com, also in Spanish language is available. So it's in English, in Italian, in Spanish, and in German. There is a manual, a PDF that you can download, and then all the burrs are explained on this kit and the direct kit. So if you are interested, you go to look for inside my website, and you can see the manual of the burrs. So I don't stay too much now to explain the burrs. But if you are curious why we use a burr on another one, you can download the manual in the Spanish version as well if you want.
That
Okay?
kit is only available in Europe?
No, I don't think that is only available in Europe, but every comet of every dealer of every country has to accept the kit, so has to ask the permission for the kit. So if an example, in Argentina, you are interested in it, maybe you ask to the dealer, maybe you say we
Okay,
are,
I
or
get it.
maybe that maybe already converted in the Argentina, is already available, because this kit is selling in Taiwan, in Indonesia, in Japan, in many places. Okay,
If they don't
the
have, we
number.
are go to the street to say for that.
Yeah. If you need just no, yeah, maybe we can ask to the headquarter in Germany if it's possible to also have in your country. So these are the drawing, guys. Okay, the drawing for the book, and then if we talk about a butt joint design, it means that we have something like just a coverage. Yeah, no, here in the upper part of the screen, you can see the bevel and the shoulder. And this is the third possible design, okay? We
Perfect.
have, we have a flat area, so we can have the distribution of the forces better. Here there is a central build-up, and then you can follow this. Is important for me. If I want to have, in example, 2 millimeters thickness of restoration, I have to shorten it more here, because here I have the sulcus and here I have the cusp. So we follow the tilt, the inclination of the cusp. This is a lot, proximal slot usually is done because you had a previous carious lesion. So this one is the case like you have a MOD in a non-vital molar, and usually you have something like this, okay? And then you can see here in the book we have more detailed picture, like in the article, because we have all the possible views, 6 views for each design. Okay.
Okay.
And so what is the indication for the butt joint? Mainly the indication is when you want to coverage a cusp for strength purposes. Okay, this is the main indication. And then also if you have a fracture of the cusp very high, but this is very uncommon. So if you see that the cusp is too thin, you cut it and then you cover it with a butt joint. Okay.
Okay.
Talking about bevel, you can see also in the picture close to you in the upper part of the screen. You see here the bevel is in this area. You can see also here a more 3D version. And here what do we have? We have inner part of a sulcus that you can apply in the butt joint or in the shoulder, doesn't matter, just for didactical purposes we put it here. This is a build-up. Figure out that you are not cutting the tooth. You have a central build-up. Figure out MOD in a premolar, in a non-vital tooth. So in this case, you do a central build-up in composite in order to have a better reference when you go to the cementation, and then more attentive, you can do something like that. And you see, here we have a butt joint, here we have the bevel. And the bevel, as you can see also in the upper image, but on the other side, the bevel increase the enamel surface and create, you see here, a more gentle transition here. So why we do it in a premolar? Why we represent in a premolar for didactical purposes? Because in example, on an upper premolar, we need more that the transition is not visible. And so for aesthetic purpose, you can do this. If you have a big discoloration here, you have other 2 options that the book will explain. One is to do the internal bleaching. The second one is to do a veneer base. So this one plus a veneer in the buccal area. But if you don't have a big discoloration, you can do this bevel. And so the bevel design is for what type of indication? Aesthetic purposes for the transition, as I mentioned. Enamel increase the surface because you have more enamel where you can perform your adhesion. Because doing the 45 bevel, you increase the enamel surface. And then sometimes you need to increase this buccal space with the opponent dentition with the antagonist. Okay?
Okay. That can I stop it a little bit?
Yeah.
You say you build up that premolar. What kind of resin do you use for that case? Do you use any core luting? Do you
Yeah,
use the normal resin?
usually my suggestion is to do, you can use a flowable, but for the core, it's better that you use a packable material,
Okay.
light curable. It makes sense to do it something like just low shrinkage or anyway bulk. I'm not very addicted with bulk material, but it makes sense to do a packable. You know that there is also the possibility of the endocrown. Personally, I'm not performing the endocrown for many reasons. In that case of endocrown, usually you can just put flowable
Even if you don't have any dental structure, you don't put an endocrown
No,
inside the.
okay, okay. Usually, if I don't have a structure of the tooth, because I don't have maybe femoral effect.
In an extreme case.
Yeah, in an extreme case, instead to do an endocrown, I prefer to do a ortho extrusion or a crown lengthening and to perform a crown. But yeah, endocrown in that case is an option, okay? And some data now is available to do this, okay? But usually if I don't have a femoral effect, I prefer to reestablish the femoral effect, okay?
Okay, always try to do a build up and then whatever the structure dental we need.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I want to see if showing what time is it? 9:40. So okay, I just show you another case here before to talk about shoulder.
Nice. I am very excited here, like a child.
Yeah, we love this type of approach. We do from many years in Italy. We now perfection in this, but yeah, I know that you are doing a lot of adhesive restoration in South America in general. In US maybe less, but I know that is going more and more popular. Correct?
Yeah, that's correct. We love the performance adhesive too.
So guys, this is a bevel.
You always say less is more. So
yeah, less is more. Yeah. Now we have materials, we have bond technologies, we have so many things that can help us and can have this type of help for this type of restoration. And but before to go ahead, before I want to go ahead, and then I want to show you something interesting about the sequel of this article.
Nice.
So we have a full bevel. So we had this bevel. Also here we have a composite online. I don't want to stay again on all the procedures. This is a non-vital. In this case, we didn't put any post. We just did a build-up like we mentioned before. We do our step. We light cure. You have to elongate the cycle of light curing from palatal, from buccal, from occlusal, and then here you can see Luca Ivaldi, the endo treatment, our endodontist. And you know what? You can tell me, okay, Fede, you know what? This is a resin restoration, okay? This is the highlighted of the resin restoration. What is the long lasting? You can see here, okay? We have our overlay, adhesive, non-retentive, composite, layered.
It seems like a natural teeth.
Yeah, it's very natural in appearance and is very gentle on the opponent dentition. But how can be long lasting? We have here the baseline, after the cementation. Here you have the 5 years follow-up, and here you have the 11 years follow-up.
Oh my
For
God.
sure, guys, it's not like the first day, okay? First
Uh-huh.
day, 5 years, 11 years. You can see I didn't repolish it, but tell you the truth, I'm more than happy because this was a young patient, okay, around 20 something more years old. It was with opponent natural dentition. This is very respectful for the opponent dentition, believe me. And tell you the truth, sometimes could happen that you have chipping, sometimes could happen that you have fracture, but the majority of our composite onlays are long lasting. We do also a lot of lithium disilicate, okay? But this is also the sharing that I want to do about this type of
11
restoration.
years. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And is
That is
stable,
incredible.
no debonding. This is why, guys, we need protocols for excellence, okay? And okay, then we go to the shoulder concept. You see in the upper image, also close to you in the upper part of the screen. The shoulder is more classical. In this case, it's like a half crown. If you just stay like this, is a sort of a short crown, okay?
Yes.
If you figure out, but ideally, this one is the one that we do for what I mentioned in the first case of tonight. Cusp fracture of the cervical or the middle third. This is the main indication. The main indication to do this when you have a fracture at this level or lower, once you do a build-up to protect the dentin, to determine the thickness of the restoration. After the build-up, if you don't involve the enamel margin, you have automatically a shoulder. This shoulder is a round corner here inside, inner corner, a rounded, sharp finishing line on the external area, okay?
When you say fracture, do you try to say crack too, or only fracture for the?
No, a fracture of the cusp. A fracture of the
Okay.
cusp. When you have a syndrome of a cracked tooth, ideally it makes sense to do a butt joint, but now, in our opinion, we do a full bevel, a circumferential bevel,
Okay,
360 degrees. Okay. And so here we can go, because maybe we. Okay, let me see if it's working. No. Okay, no. This is.
It's okay. We can hold on here.
No, okay, now it's working.
All the night.
Okay, so here, guys, it's quite easy because in this case I had a fracture here. I put a build up. I leave the enamel margin. During the build up, you don't have to be focused on the cover, the enamel margin. During the build up, you leave the enamel margin because you need the enamel margin for your final adhesive cementation. Okay, and then in this case, you just refine. We use this burr of the kit. This is 0.16, 1.6 millimeter diameter, but on the top of the burr is 1 millimeter. So in this case, using this burr, you can just take the full thickness of the shape of the burr. And then this is the previous was a coarse grit, 150 micron. Then we refinish it with a fine micron, and this is an extra fine. The extra fine is 25 microns, just to do the final finishing. Okay, very gentle finishing, and that's it. Okay. And this is just
you are looking for a smooth. You are looking for a smooth surface, or it doesn't matter if it's roughness or smooth.
I prefer to have a smooth surface. In this case, you can also polish it, but this is not mandatory. For someone, it's quite scary that you can have some particles of the silicone tip. But after you etch it before the cementation, you clean it perfectly, so it doesn't matter. What I want to have very smooth and very well defined is the final margin, okay?
Okay.
Not the. not the inner part. So guys, before go ahead, what type of music do you listen in your office? I had this problem, you know.
You
I had
always,
this.
you
I had
always
this
listen and
problem.
chill out. That kind of
Yes,
music
I have my
is
chill
a
out
relaxing
playlist.
music for the
Yes,
appointment.
I have a chill out. Someone is a little bit more disco, but not that much. So, guys, if you want it, because I created this playlist, are 8 playlists. Now the 9 and the 10th are under construction. Each one is more than 11 hours. So what it means that I put one of these at the morning, and then until the evening I have a playlist that is playing different music, and then I can do. So if you want to if you like them, if you can find on my profile on
Do you
Spotify.
have that list in your Instagram, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
To swipe up
Sometimes I
and
put, yeah.
the people going on
Yeah,
to
sometimes
that list.
like today I have this one. I put the direct swipe up to this one. But if you go on my profile, Federico Ferraris in Instagram, you can find all of them. So if you like, guys, put a like so I know. And if you listen it, you try in the office when you go back to work. And
Do
so
you
that's
use
it.
in your course too?
In the courses, I have other playlists that are
Mm-hmm.
called aesthetics. So you see order that you see the year. So for the
Mm-hmm.
courses, I use more pop and dance
Mm-hmm.
music during the hands-on to do more party during the preparation time and layering phases during the hands-on. So I have also available in my playlist aesthetics. The aesthetics are those that I use for the courses. These with the writing chill out, Federico Ferrari
Mm-hmm.
Smile Atelier chill out is the one that I use with the patients. Okay, just
So
but this is just
relaxing
a
music.
yeah, yeah. Create the good ambient for me. Okay. So guys, now I want to talk to you just in these minutes, and then we can talk about some question or more if you want
Mm-hmm.
it about this. This is the new 2 articles. This is a group of former students by my part. Some
Mm-hmm.
of them are speakers as well.
Mm-hmm.
And what we did, we took 70 extracted teeth. Okay,
Oh,
70.
nice.
65 of them were prepared and uh, covered with a lithium silicate posterior adhesive restoration. We use the same type of protocol, the same type of burst, the same type of cementation, the same type of milling protocol. So
Mm-hmm.
what is the purpose? To understand what type of fracture resistance, what is the fracture resistance in force, what is the type of fracture, what is the marginal quality, choosing what 4 different designs. Okay. All
Perfect.
the restoration are 1 millimeter thickness, monolithic, lithium silicate.
This
And
is
then we have,
the unreleased paper, as you said before.
yes, this one, yeah, this is
Ah,
under public, this is just something new because it's not published
okay.
yet, okay?
Thanks for sharing
So,
this.
yeah, this is butt joint, full bevel, full shoulder,
Mm-hmm.
and the crown, chamfer, okay?
Nice.
And so, someone is thinking that to do some partial like this is less resistant compared full crown. But this is bullshit. Or anyway, this is not proven, okay? This is not
Okay.
proven. I love to do crown in
Mm-hmm.
specific situation, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that a crown is more resistant compared a restoration like this. This is a
Okay, we
similar
got.
restoration than the one that I show you to 11 follow-up in the month,
Mm-hmm.
okay? So the part one of this article, we have this, we did an aging, and then we overload all the samples until we fracture them, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you can see here the moment of the fracture. This is was done in University of Trieste in Italy. So with a group of my former students, we did all the steps to restore, and then in university they tested. And you can see we do the force until they arrive to the fracture. And we would like to see if some one of them was more resistant to the fracture, okay?
Okay.
And you can see here after the different fractures, some samples. And this is the interesting part. Look at here.
Okay, nice.
This is the force that you need to fracture these samples, and these are the type of restorations, okay?
Mm-hmm.
This is the natural tooth, not restored.
Mm-hmm.
More or less, to fracture
Mm-hmm.
the full crown, adhesive full crown, you need the same force.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You need a little bit higher force to fracture the shoulder and the butt joint, but all these four, so butt joint, shoulder, crown, and natural tooth, are at the same level of significant statistic, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The one that was totally higher was this one, full bevel.
Full bevel.
So first conclusion, crown is not more resistant compared to this, the partial restoration. Second, all of them perform more or less the same, but bevel, circumferential bevel, with not aggressive prepared ridges, it was the one that was a little bit more resistant compared also to the natural tooth. Okay.
Oh, very
So
interesting.
this for me is very interesting. And then we have SEM analysis to different magnification to see also how it's performing. Here we have the type of fracture. The red part is the fracture that involve also the root. And you can see that crown was a little bit better because only 14%. The green is just a fracture of the ceramic. And you can see the full bevel has a very high level of only ceramic, a part of the tooth, 40% also fracture a part of the root. But you have to remember that this full bevel needs to have higher force to compare to the full crown to be broken, okay? So,
wow.
And just to talk about marginal integrity, all of them has a 97, 99, 98, 99 of the good margin. So no difference in margin after a simulation. We did the thermocycling, 1,200,000 thermocycling. That it means more or less 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah, okay. So as a simulation, okay.
Okay, nice.
And that's it. So let me see if I have something more in this presentation, but I think that we can do some discussion if you want, because I have another extra case, but I don't think it makes sense to show it. Maybe we can do some discussion if you want.
Okay.
And so, okay, just if you want to contact me, guys, my site is this one, federicoferraris.com.
Oh, do you have a YouTube channel too? Nice.
If you go on YouTube, I have some videos, short videos, 5 minutes, that I explain a topic or something like that. I have my Instagram, my Facebook, a little bit more active on Instagram nowadays. And then also we are launching at aesthetics.com site. That is also a blog. We share more extra contents, okay?
And in your website, they have some papers to share.
In my federicoferraris.com, you can download all the articles that I wrote with Quintessence. Yes, on the Quintessence. Yeah.
First of all, what amazing research, what amazing cases, what amazing. I can still all the night here listen to you because
I have other cases, but I don't
like
want to bore
Universal Studies.
I don't want to bother you, but yes, I have.
You know what I try to say. I am really happy to hear all your case, all your research. It's like a oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, all the time, all the time, all the time, oh my god, oh my god.
Yes, so, too kind, Ariel, too kind. So guys, it's important to have to think about in an easy way, in a conservative way. There is no reason to be aggressive nowadays, okay? So there are some indication to do a crown, to do a bridge, but believe me, more and more we have data, clinical data, scientific data, that this type of approach, it makes sense. And the concept is to buy time for your patient. You figure out a stair. At the beginning of the stair, there is maybe a ceiling of a circus. The second one is a small filling. The third step is a MOD. The first step is an onlay. The last step is the crown. After the step, there is the extraction of the tooth. So if you start to go from the beginning to the last step, if you are lucky, the next intervention after some years, you stay on the same step, you remake the crown. But if you are not so lucky, you have to extract it to put an implant. And guys, I love implants as well. We do a lot of restoration
Yeah.
on implants. But the nature is the nature. Respect the nature. You have time to do something more aggressive. Okay?
Okay, let me a few questions to finish
Yeah.
all this concept, because here I can see some of kind of undercuts. For example, in this building, uh,
Yeah, no,
what is
honestly, no, in this case, we
Mhm,
did some grooves in
mhm.
order to decide the level of the preparation. But ideally, you don't have to leave undercuts. So if there is
Okay.
undercuts, because there is mistake, you don't have to leave undercuts. In this case, we have MOD,
Mhm,
non-vital. We put just from mesial to distal a groove in order to fix better during the
mhm,
cementation to leave more space there. We have two slots in the proximal area, and then we have a small bevel in the buccal part, and in the lingual part we have just a butt joint. And so many times we combine these two type of preparation. But now that I see that the full bevel is even stronger, it makes sense if you want also to do a small bevel also in the lingual part. But a butt joint is anyway very good, very good.
And maybe the last question, which is the most important things in indirect resin or in the ceramic glass resin to get
The most
more
important,
performance?
okay, uh, we know that monolithic lithium silicate is
Mhm,
very high strength.
mhm,
And usually I prefer to do this when I have maybe a patient
mhm,
that is parafunctional patient. We have bruxism or something like that. And then it makes more sense maybe to do a ceramic. But also you have to consider the opponent dentition. If you have ceramic in opponent dentition, maybe ceramic is better. If you have natural tooth in the opponent dentition, maybe composite is better. Anyway, if I have a very young patient, I prefer to put composite only
mhm.
because I respect more his natural opponent dentition. If I have an adult patient with parafunction, I prefer ceramic monolithic lithium silicate.
Excellent. Do you still use to measure? Okay, let me, if I find this. What is that transparent matrix?
Okay, this transparent matrix is, but in this one are from this article or from another article?
Yes, I take the screenshot for that, for
Ah,
this
this was
article.
in this article
Hmm.
because
But
usually
you
we use.
only say this is a direct way to do the.
Ah, yeah. This was, yeah, I don't remember because if you go on my page, you see the full article
Mhm,
about index technique with Riccardo Mannato. And so you see how we
mhm,
perform with this transparent matrix. We stamp the overlay directly without
mhm.
take an impression. But yeah, usually for the indirect restoration, we don't use the transparent matrices.
Excellent, Federico. We have just 1 minute. Just I want to say
I know.
thank you so much. I am honored with you. We stay with you here, and just I want to say thank you. Stay safe. Save your family. I want to play with your kids later, so I don't
Yeah.
want to keep more of your valued time. So
No, it's my real pleasure. I'm available.
do you want to say something to conclude all of this? A quick
Yeah, guys,
few.
believe on adhesion and believe on the new materials, because if you follow the right protocol, you are safe.
Okay, great, Federico. Thank you very much for your time, for your effort, for this. It's so great to see you again.